Does he like me? Am I good enough? Can I afford it? Should I quit my job? Should I go to university? Should I start studying again? If all of these thoughts are racing through your mind just before you're going to sleep, then keep watching this video because I'm going to give you the 4 things that will help you stop overthinking right before you go to sleep. I know you do not want to be that girl who can't sleep, who develops insomnia, and then has no energy throughout the day to actually train, to actually work on yourself, and to actually do well in your studies or do well in your job. I know you don't want to be that person, and that's why you clicked on this video. But life is intense and there's so many thoughts and feelings rushing through our minds every single day, and we're keeping ourselves so busy that we're not even giving ourselves space to actually feel those feelings and tap into those thoughts. So when you're stressed throughout the day, you're most likely pushing it away and you're focusing on other tasks that need to get done. Totally fair enough. But that means that all of these thoughts pile up, and as soon as your head hits your pillow, all of those thoughts start racing around in your mind and you can't help but overthink, and then you can't sleep. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an evening routine that includes these 4 things. At the start of this year, I was actually really struggling with my sleep, and that's because I was overstimulated before I was going to sleep. I was on my screen working very late at night and constantly thinking about my business, thinking about my friendships, thinking about my dating life, so that when I got into bed, I was so overstimulated with thoughts and feelings, and I could not sleep. And I'm also a morning person. Naturally, I'm a morning person, which meant that I ended up getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep every night for a while, and I was not thriving, because we need more sleep. And not only more sleep, but humans, we need quality sleep. And that quality sleep usually happens before midnight, and it's a combination of deep sleep and REM sleep. Right now, we're going to talk about your evening routine. And this is something that I have implemented in the past few months, and it has changed the game with my sleep, and I can actually see how well I'm sleeping now with my aura as well. The first thing is a journal practice. There are 4 journal prompts on the screen right here. Screenshot this and complete this journal practice. I want you to implement these tips today, and I want you to feel how much they benefit you, because it will make a huge difference. When you are writing down your feelings, you are giving yourself a chance to get everything down on paper. And I recommend using a pen and paper, because pen and paper takes longer to actually write versus when you're typing on your laptop or you're typing on your phone. That's more like a quick hit of dopamine, which we don't want. Late at night, we're not trying to increase our dopamine levels, but we're trying to calm our hormones down. So using a pen to paper, doing it slowly, increasing your dopamine slowly to get your thoughts down on a piece of paper and out of your head is going to help you to sleep, because your thoughts are going to be on paper. And if you're struggling with a big decision right now, also write that down. Write down some pros and cons if you really want to. Just get your thoughts and your brain dumped onto a piece of paper so that they stop circling in your head. This next tip is going to impact your evening routine like crazy, and it's actually giving yourself the space and the time to think and to stress during your day. The reason why you are overthinking as soon as you get into bed is because you're not giving yourself that space to actually think and overthink during your day. Whereas if you started to give yourself some time and space on your lunch, maybe when you're eating dinner, to actually think about the things that are stressing you out and ask yourself, okay, is this worth stressing about right now? Do I need to stress about this? If it's something financial, okay, do I need to stress? What can I do to actually stop feeling and stop overthinking this stress? What action can I take? Giving yourself time throughout the day to actually think about the things that are stressing you out will help you not think about them at night. Because at night, when you're going to bed, is the only time when you don't have a million things on your to-do list, right? Because you're like, I need to go to sleep. So that's when your mind wakes up and finally starts to give yourself permission to think about the things that are stressing you out, to think about that guy that you might like, to think about university, to think about that course, to think about all of these things that stress you. So ask yourself now, where in your day can you give yourself time to stress? Time to think, time to just be with your thoughts and let yourself stress about a few things so that you don't stress in the night. And I'm not saying that you can stress all day. I'm not saying you have to set a timer or anything. But what I am saying is some things are worth stressing about and some things aren't. But the more time you give yourself to stress, the more you will realize what things are worth stressing about versus what things aren't. The next thing to do as part of your evening routine is checking in with the people that you love and you care about. This will boost your hormone of oxytocin, which is the love hormone. It's also a very relaxing hormone. It's a great hormone to boost late at night. And also, part of overthinking, if you are a people pleaser, can be worrying that you have upset someone, worrying that you're not a good friend. So if you spend some time in the evening just checking in with your friends, checking in with your family, and letting them know that you're thinking about them, for me, this takes away a little bit of that fear that I may have done something wrong. I am naturally a people pleaser. So if I dedicate just 10 minutes in the evening to check in with the people I love, to remind myself that I am also loved, I feel that sense of comfort, and that allows my body to also enter into that relaxed state. So boost your hormone, oxytocin, by checking in with the people you love. Of course, if you are living with a partner right now, if you have a loved one nearby, then how can you show them a little bit of love and boost that love hormone in the evening? You probably love watching things before bed, am I right? Let me know. But if you do, then avoid watching short form content before you go to bed. Short form content is boosting your dopamine by giving you quick hits of short form content. So replace 20 short form TikTok or Instagram reels with one long form video. Again, a long form video is slowly going to increase your dopamine because you're watching something, you're present with what you're watching, and you have to wait for it to get to a certain point. You're not getting that quick hit, that quick laughter, which is instantly boosting your dopamine, but you're actually waiting and you're watching something that you are truly engrossed in, and this has a different effect on dopamine levels. Short form content has quite a negative effect on dopamine levels because we're used to actually working hard for something and then getting that dopamine in return. And with short form content, we don't get that. With Instagram Reels, you don't get that. But if you're watching long form content, it's actually okay and it's actually way more productive. Of course, I recommend reducing your screen time so that your eyes aren't stimulated as you get into bed. But if you want to watch something before you go to bed, make it a series or long form content. Those are 4 things that are going to help you stop overthinking late at night. And now I'm going to share with you a few things to stop doing because you are probably doing these things if you are overthinking at night. The first thing is watching fast content. Stop the short form and go for the long form. The next thing is your screen. If you are not bothered about watching things, have a screen fast, which means that you are taking a break from your screen, and instead of being on your screen, you are reading, you are spending time with friends, you are doing something else. And you can actually create barriers to this. You can put your phone on airplane mode, you can put your phone on do not disturb. You can also get the app OneSec. This is the app I use for Instagram to stop me from checking Instagram 1,000 times per day. You can set up systems that are actually going to help you to stop going and scrolling on your phone. And if you're worried that you're going to miss out on something or that someone might ring you in case there's an emergency, I recommend do not disturb, but then turning off the do not disturb for emergency contacts only. You can choose whose calls and whose texts will still come through to you. So there really is no excuse with setting up these systems on your phone to stop you from checking it. And the next thing is slowing tasks down to build up your dopamine. Like I mentioned with the pen and paper, in the night we wanted to slow our tasks down so that our brains aren't feeling so stimulated and so active late in the evening, because having your brain very, very active is not helping you. And that is why you are really struggling with overthinking right now. Now have the best night's sleep that you have ever freaking had, and do these things, implement them one thing at a time. Start slow, start with just the journal practice, and then start doing the long form, then start quitting the short form, then start checking in with the people you love. Implement things one step at a time, and I promise you, you will be thriving, you will be sleeping, and you will be glowing, because sleep is the basis of absolutely everything. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and also share this with your bestie if you found it helpful, because when we all win, life is way more freaking fun. Have a beautiful day, week, month, life. Bye!